Welcome back, viewers and subscribers. It's your girl, Star Flames, and we're back with another video. Yes, guys, we're back on Halle and DDG because the internet has been going off saying that DDG's request has been denied by the court, and DDG's attorney is coming out to say that is not true. As a matter of fact, he was partially granted a temporary restraining orders that bars Halle from engaging in any physical or emotional abuse. But remember that when we said that his request has been denied by the court, we're talking about him basically telling the court not to give Halle the temporary custody of Halo, which would then block Halo from traveling to Europe with his mom. Halle still has temporary primary custody of Halo until the next hearing that is scheduled for June 24th. Now, I've seen where DJ Academics has posted something on TikTok saying that, Halo can't go to Europe because they have blocked it. And I'm like, no, if she still has full temporary custody, she can definitely travel with the child, because why give the child, why give the mom, I should say, temporary full custody, and then she's going to travel and leave the child in the United States when the father doesn't have custody? That's not making any sense. And there's one thing we know, and that is what the court does, irrespective of the fact that DDG is telling the court that Halle is unstable and she is not trustworthy. The court is not seeing that, because the court does understand, because remember that the courts also works with doctors, and what they do over the years is that cases like these are not anything new. What they'll see is what is called reactive abuse. And I'm going to tell you what DDG did to Halle Bailey. Because in DDG's filing, he said that they had broken up months after Halle got pregnant. Like in the early stages of her pregnancy, they had broken up because the relationship was toxic, and Halle basically used some kind of violence and you're not going to leave me and all of that jazz. And that is something that you have to understand, because remember, he impregnated that girl at the peak of her career. And I believe that everything that DDG did, it was plotted, it was planned, it was carefully orchestrated the moment that he figured out who Halle Bailey is. He broke her down, and he was saving those text messages, and not only saving them, he was sharing them with people in his circle. And I believe he was there like, this is a little mermaid that the world is going crazy over. Look how messy she is. I don't even want her. Now she's pregnant. I'm going to abandon her. And what Halle saw is rejection after getting pregnant for this man, and after the world saw her with this man, and Halle was just trying to protect her brand as much as she could at the time. I also believe that Halle wanted to have a family, because even though things may not be good at that point in time, maybe Halle was looking into the fact that even though it's not good, we can still work it out. But what DDG did, he realized that Halle is reactive towards his actions. So he would do things that he knows would trigger her, and then he would build a record against her, because he had always planned to put all of this out there. Do you notice how in Halle's court filings, she did not include text messages. She could have used specific text messages, but she kept to the important points. But DDG went and he dig down deep, low, and dirty because he wanted to prove to the world that y'all's little mermaid is not what y'all think she is. She's not perfect. She's psychologically, so he's basically calling Halle a psychologically damaged, mentally unstable individual. But what the court is aware of is that oftentimes men, they do what is known as reactive abuse. And as such, DDG did not make any attempt from the get-go when he thinks that she was unwell, because it is just his thought, and not because it may appear as so to him, and not because that was his thought. It doesn't necessarily mean that it was a reality. So, look, he did not make a first move. Halle Bailey did. And what has DDG looking so questionable is the fact that he wanted to end this relationship while she was pregnant, but even after she was pregnant, even after she gave birth, he was there following her around town, asking her why her bed is like that, who was in her bed with her, what man did she have on vacation around their son. And I don't think that should be any of his business about what man is around his son, because the fact of the matter is, they've moved on. He's gonna have his girlfriend around his son, and she's gonna have her man around her son. Maybe at the park or some play date, maybe not sleep over, but maybe at some dinner, some movie, the park, something. At some point in time, DDG's girlfriend is gonna be around Halo, and Halle's boyfriend is gonna be around Halo. So it's not just Halle who is given psychologically unwell. DDG is also given psychologically unwell. Now also, I'm happy that Halle had filed a motion to have DDG and his family and friends blocked from having Halo on any live stream, because DDG, they take pleasure out of monetizing Halo. Halle has realized that, and she has officially put an end to that. So, no more Halo on any live stream for DDG and his family. And even though they're now saying, the attorney saying, oh, that's not the case, because DDG was actually granted temporary restraining order against Halle. At the end of the day, Halle still won. She still has primary temporary custody of the child. Now, when they meet on June 24th, DDG is not going to get joint custody. He's not going to get joint custody of Halo anytime soon, because what the court is going to see is a man who brought a woman through psychological abuse. While those text messages from Halle was screaming and threatening, DDG kept pushing her because she's saying, why would you do this to me? Why do you keep doing this to me? Why do you keep hurting me like this? So there are things, even though it looks bad, there are things in it that also makes DDG look like an unsupportive boyfriend who was psychologically and emotionally abusing Halle Bailey. And as such, what DDG is going to get is supervised visitation. Halle is going to still move on to get temporary physical custody of the child, which may last for a couple more months. DDG may have to do some classes and some stuff. I think both parties are going to have to do some parenting classes, and then the court is going to reevaluate them maybe over the next 2 years. And then if they don't see any signs of DDG going after Halle on social media, that's when he's going to get joint custody, possibly. But DDG has done far too many attacks against Halle on social media, and you can't hide anything from social media that you already put there. The court can see it. So on that basis, he's not going to get joint custody of Halo anytime soon. But That's just my 2 cents on the new update. It is your time to chime in, guys. Let me know what's your take. And remember, do all you need to do on this video to support your girl. Peace.